All right, so again, we're here to talk about, the previous year, 2024, and our annual report to the community. Really appreciate the opportunity to come before you today. Just as a reminder, the Warren County Park District, we own and manage 1,700 acres across the county in 12 different parks and 6 conservation areas that are future parks. And it's nice to have a little bit of recognition for a job well done, and so I'm happy to share that Armco Park, for the first time, was voted Best Park in the Visitors Bureau's Best of Warren County Awards, and that's thanks to our dedicated staff who have really gone the extra mile to make that park look better than ever over the past year. And I really also want to just show our appreciation to the county commissioners for the foresight in participating in the partnership that preserved Armco Park for public use back when it was purchased from AK Steel. It really has...
I almost got assaulted for that. I've never had a CFO of a Fortune 100 company yell at me when I was negotiating the Armco Park deal, but I'm glad it worked out okay.
Well, we are too, and it really has become a gem in the community, and so I think it was worth going through that little bit of discomfort there. Thank you so much. As I'm a park guy, I love to hike and paddle and bike and do all those things, but I'm also a data nerd, and I could really rock a spreadsheet. So I just wanted to present some statistics here. This is our visitation from the previous year according to Placer AI. So almost 750,000 visits across the Park District, with 400,000 of those being at Armco Park in 2024. Those numbers continue to increase versus previous years. And these are likely undercounts because the Placer data does not capture anybody under 16 years of age for privacy reasons. So the kids that come to our park aren't counted in these numbers for privacy reasons, so it's likely an undercount.
How do you count people going to the park?
So we actually worked with the Visitors Bureau and the city to get anonymized cell phone data. So your cell phones, they ping a GPS.
So you geofence them when they enter an area?
Yeah, pretty much. That is how it works. Yeah,
that's cool.
Now we probably in the coming years will invest in vehicle counters for at least Armco Park so that we can try to get some more accurate numbers. But as far as I'm concerned, having some numbers is better than having none. So these are nothing to shake a stick at. And then honing in on Armco Park. Armco Park is an economic driver for the community. It is a revenue generating park, so these different venues that we've listed here are all revenue generating operations. They all turn a profit, so when we compare how much we bring in these venues to how much they cost to operate, they turn a profit, which then we put back into Armco Park to basically pay for the free things that people do in the park. Your walking, your jogging, and so on, that we don't charge for. And we also generate a fair amount of economic impact. So Armco Park in 2024, an estimated over $18 million of economic impact. And also that park is paying for its own operations. If we don't count the capital projects or capital equipment purchases, just the day-to-day operations of the park are self-funded. And we also, as the Park District, are a partner in tourism in the county. And just one example of that is our Park Run partnership. So we have a weekly 5K race every Saturday morning out at Armco Park. And believe it or not, there are people that literally travel around the country and around the world so that they can go to each and every park run. And so this heat map that's shown on the screen here shows some of the different states and countries that people have come to Armco Park from in order to participate in a park run. And of course, data tells a story, but also stories are about people. And so when we did our statistically valid survey as part of our strategic planning process, we asked some people to tell some of their stories. So, for example, 28-year-old female, what I love most is getting out into nature and enjoying fresh air and a change of scenery with my loved ones. At Armco, I enjoy the park. It's clean, well cared for, and safe to enjoy with my family. It's a great way to engage in the outdoors and keep my kids busy and having fun without being on devices. Seeing the familiar faces of people, when you go often and get to know people, it becomes like a community. And then just to give you another example, I've invited Roy Lutz of Safe on Main to accompany me today, and he would like to tell you just a little bit about how our partnership with Safe on Main and our program Prevention in the Parks is impacting children's health and safety.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Roy Lutz. I am the manager of education outreach at Safe on Main, agency that's been around for 40 years here in Warren County. One of the things that I think has been amazing about the Warren County Park District and what they've done for Safe on Main, reaching our goals or working towards our goals of creating violence-free communities for everyone, is that they've helped create by providing a space in Armco Park for us to implement our Prevention in the Park program, our 6-week summer series program. They've helped move our work and effort towards our achieving our mission and vision away from just traditional prevention efforts, which we do, and we're very proud of in all the schools and all the different districts in Warren County, but moved it from just a traditional prevention effort to health promotion. So our 6-week summer series is 400 more of these stories. So we've had 400 families over the last 5 years attending 6 weeks of our Prevention in the Park series, where we educate on kindness, we educate on working together and collaborating together as families and friends, which I think supports the Park District strategic plan, a component of values, connecting community parks and families. One of the ways that we've done that, and one of the main outcomes for our program, has been improving positive childhood experiences and protective factors for kids. In our program, families work together, not caregivers watching kids do activities, but they collaborate together on activities. We have 4-H that partners in there. We have the health district which partners in there. So we've created access points for families to get different services. We've given out more than a dozen car seats to families in need, increasing those opportunities for healthy, safe families. And then again, those protective factors, engaging families with their community, health promotion activities around healthy eating, around exercise, that have all been provided by Matt and the Park District. So we're grateful to have the opportunity as a representative of Safe on Main to support the Park District and all that they do to improve the health and safety for children. So thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Roy. And so 2024 was a year of updates and improvements, and thanks to the support of this commission and allocation of ARPA funds, we were able to add synthetic turf to our softball complex. And since then, we've seen a 20% increase in the profit from that softball complex that we can now reinvest into the rest of the park. And also, that complex plays a role in tourism and in economic impact. Notably, 5% of our softball complex attendees come from over 100 miles away. So you're talking hotel nights, meals, fuel, travel, all of those things. Our estimated economic impact just from the 2024 season is $8 million, with 687 estimated hotel room nights. 8 million represents a 10x return on the county's investment in that complex just in the first year.
Are all the fields synthetic?
Yes, all the infields. Yep. We also are working to improve awareness and communication with the community, and a key part of that has been our new user-friendly and mobile-friendly website at warrencountyparks.com. That has been a great tool for us to get the word out about what we have to offer. Now, coming this year and next, we have some other grant-funded capital investments happening down at Landon Deerfield Park off of 22 and 3, We're transforming our former 3-acre pond into a stream and wetland complex with nature play elements. Also getting rid of a huge maintenance liability with the dam out there, dealing with a long-term cost sink for us once and for all. Also over at Armco Park, working on a bike pedestrian trail to connect ourselves to Union Village and Otterbein Complex. Just the first phase of a plan that will ultimately get us connected into the city of Lebanon and to the Little Miami Scenic Trail. Also, there are some budding partnerships happening that are really emphasizing our role as a park district as a convener that can work across jurisdictional boundaries and also between business, nonprofits, and government. So we are working with the city of Lebanon on a partnership of over 30 businesses, nonprofits, and government entities that are dedicated to promoting Warren County as a destination for nature-based passive recreation. And the Visitors Bureau is also a key partner in that. And to that end, we have commissioned an economic study to quantify the economic benefit provided by nature-based passive recreation here in Warren County. And we hope to have those numbers by the fall to share. Also, there's in the very early stages, a partnership looking at a study of active transportation in the western part of Warren County with the main goal of looking at opportunities to connect Warren County's 3 largest population centers, Mason, Lebanon, and Springboro, with bike and pedestrian trails. In addition, we are all about partnerships at the Park District, and we're also not territorial. We go outside our boundaries all the time, and our naturalists, for example, are in other parks giving education programs and participating in partnerships. So on the left side of your screen, these are all of the different city parks and township parks and other entities that we are doing nature programming in. On the right side, the Park District doesn't have a lot of buildings, but in order to keep our nature education partnerships going all year long, we have partnered with all of the library systems in Warren County to offer an nature education program in local libraries. And, we are, obviously we don't have a lot of money to throw around, but we do a lot with very little, and most of that has to do with the many partnerships that we have with various organizations, governments, businesses, nonprofits, all across Warren County who share in our mission and our goals and want to contribute, and we really appreciate their involvement. Now, a major achievement from both 2024 and the first half of 2025 for the Park District is the completion of our strategic plan. And I brought copies with me that I have one for all of you when this thing is done. But we really did a robust community engagement process as part of the strategic plan. I really want to thank Commissioner Jones for participating in our steering committee. Thank you very much. So we had a statistically valid survey, a steering committee of over 40 different community leaders, focus groups of various types, and open houses in 6 locations across the county. And so the strategic plan process is really a process of self-discovery. It's about defining who we are and what we want to accomplish. And it's an effort that is community-driven. So we're here to serve the people of Warren County, so it's up to the people of Warren County to tell us what they are looking for from us. And so with that, we've been able to distill out our mission and vision. And so our mission statement, our new mission statement is here. The old one took up about a page. This one is a sentence. Warren County Park District enhances our community's well-being by preserving quality natural spaces where all are invited to discover and experience the great outdoors. So that's our purpose. And then our vision, generally, who do we want to become? And so we aspire to be a leader in natural resource conservation, outdoor recreation, and nature education by building partnerships and working toward a connected network of green space and trails that enhance our community's quality of life. And again, these sentences reflect what people told us was important to them in our surveys and in our outreach. And then most importantly for me personally is our unique value proposition. You know, there are a lot of different agencies out there doing parks. You know, we recognize that. And so I think it's important for us to define what the Park District uniquely brings to the table. And that's what this is about. That's what the unique value proposition is. So we believe we're uniquely positioned to lead a regional approach to parks, trails, and green space, preserving the natural legacy of the county, fostering partnerships, and bridging boundaries to connect people with nature and each other. And so we do that by bridging the gaps in service that arise between the disparate efforts of municipal, township, and state park providers. We do that by protecting regionally significant natural areas to preserve the county's scenic character, connecting communities, parks, and people through an increasingly unified trail and green space network that involves both our parks and the parks of other agencies, and leveraging partnerships and collaboration to work across jurisdictional boundaries in the 29 different jurisdictions that we have here in Warren County to bring people together and start to think in a coordinated regional fashion. Also, we do it by being an efficient steward of financial resources, delivering high-quality service at a minimal cost per resident, stretching dollars further by leveraging grant funding and generating non-tax revenue. And finally, we aspire to build a healthier, more resilient, and more unified county. So by leading with purpose, we believe we're well positioned to be a partner in preserving and enhancing the quality of life, to keep Warren County thriving, healthy, and prosperous, to attract visitors and strengthen our local economy, and live up to that reputation as Ohio's largest playground. So there's not enough time here to get into the full details of the strategic plan, but our goals are arranged in 6 topics of conservation, recreation, education, community, connectivity, and operations. And there's a QR code on the screen. It's all online, but I've got a paper copy with me that I'll pass out to all of you. So lastly, just what I want to leave you with is just to state that we're here to serve, and we believe that parks can be economic drivers, business and resident attractors, health and wellness centers, tourist destinations, and a strategic investment. So with that, I just want to thank you for your time, and I'm happy to entertain any questions you might have.
Thank you. Anybody have anything else?
I just wanted to thank you for all the work that you and your team did. I know a lot of volunteers to support the strategic planning process. I saw just how big of a process it is. And I think that, you know, my biggest takeaway was I believe you when you say partnerships are really important, and I think that that's going to be key to continue. And so I would, because it's an opportunity for me to plug the thing that you've heard me talk about before, and in all of the ways that I was asked to contribute to the process, to say how much I would really like to see a greater partnership between the Kessling Park and the city of Springboro.
Mm-hmm.
The city of Springboro invests heavily in their parks for the community, and that park is really underinvested in my view for the community that it serves, especially relative to all of the other investments that the Park District has. And I think there's lots of room for improvement in that area. So I'm hoping to see some greater partnership there for the betterment of what has been a huge neighborhood developed now around that park.
Good. Well, we'll get to work on that.
Right, well, thank you so much.
Alrighty, thank you.
Okay. Okay, now we have an update for Ohio Means Jobs.
There's some one sheets for you, can I approach?
Sure, of course.
I'll be brief, I know you're having a busy day. This will just help you to read along. Good morning, my name is Josh Heisel, I'm the Deputy Director of Ohio Means Jobs here in Warren County. I presented here about a year ago and talked about some of the things we were working on. And I got some good advice from all of you, and I mulled it over all year. I reflected. We got to work on the team, and we did a lot of great things this year, and I'll just share them with you. I thought the quickest way and the best way to share them with you is let you know the goals that we set after we left here last year, and just to show you how we hit them. So right out of the gate, we decided that it is probably more beneficial for kids to find out what the heck they're good at first before we start talking about what the heck they ought to do down the road. So we invested in virtual reality career exploration. It's pretty cool. I was going to bring one today and see if one of you wanted to throw it on and do some surgery, but couldn't coordinate that. I apologize. But we've been getting into every school with these headsets. Teachers can now go onto our website and just register and say, I would love to have these headsets brought to my class, 6th grade, 7th grade, doesn't matter. And I'll tell you how cool they are because one girl, Jenna Shorts here in the back, and she does a lot of the implementation of this at Franklin High School. One girl said, I was born to be a surgical nurse. That's what I'm going to be. It's my dream. It's my passion. Throws the headset on, does surgery, blood shoots on you at one point or goes near you. Throws up, almost passes out, and we re-evaluated what she might do. But then it didn't cost us a dime. Or it didn't cost them a dime. She goes to the next experience, and she finds one that makes sense to explore deeper. That's all. That doesn't mean they have to make that decision in the 6th grade. But if you can rule something out, I think that's just as valuable. So the virtual reality has been a big Ohio Means Jobs push in the county, and it's welcomed us. We're in all the schools again. It's awesome. We got our finger on the pulse. We can see what's going on. We can listen to teachers, businesses, and try to react properly. All right, so that's how we're doing career development now. And I gotta say, that story about the girl throwing up tickled me because I was like, I'm always the one saying, let him try again, let him try again. She threw up and we realized it wasn't for her. Such a neat thing. All right, next thing we had, 14s and 15s. Those age kids are really hard to get hands-on experience, workforce experience because of, there are laws, they can't do everything, they can do this or that. So a lot of local work sites and employers are rightfully not interested in having a bunch of 14-year-olds running around their place. So we started a program this year in coordination with Human Services, another pot of TANF money that identifies kids that 14s and 15s that could just go out and learn how to work boot camp style. Maybe we put the kid gloves on a little bit. They're late the first couple times, we don't scream. I am a U.S. Marine, so it's hard sometimes to put the kid gloves on, but I think for 14 and 15-year-old kids, at least with this generation, we're trying to just not scare them off. But they're having a great summer. In fact, they have various projects around the county that we're getting calls from customers that say, we'll come out and do this, we'll come out and do that. And the kids are just learning how to show up to work, get a paycheck, ask off, right? Some kids don't show up because my dad said I had vacation, well, you still have to request off. That sounds crazy at our age, but that's what they need to learn. So we're focusing on the boot camp style this summer. With one caseworker that just lives with those kids. So it's going very well, and we hope the best for them. They'll wrap it up August, September, they'll wrap that up. And we'll get some data back from that. The other thing about the VR is the data that we get back from that is incredible. And I will send that along and share it with you, but all that data gets to go back to the school district. So now the school district can look at how many kids are using this, how many kids like healthcare, how many kids like this, and then are they even good at them, right? If somebody fails, is scoring very low, maybe it's time to hang up the baseball glove and whatever, pick up a shovel. So, expanding our employer network, that's been a big thing for us too, to get more work sites. But in the past, I think Ohio Means Jobs has unintentionally burned a few work sites just with kids doing things or crashing a golf cart or something like that. So we're rebuilding that reputation and trying to get the employers in the community not only to be involved, but to give us intel on what they don't like about the incoming generation, which is usually they're late, they're on their phone all the time, they wear pajamas. So we're working on all of that, and the OMJ and economic development merger has just been sort of one of the prides of my year, to work with Matt Schdippke, Candace Miller the way we have been. Candace and I have just started a monthly set meeting where we're going to cross-train each other in our departments, just so we're more informed in what workforce can do with economic development and likewise. Nothing but excitement. Matt Schdippke, Jenna, and I got invited to the ODJFS conference this year to speak on this because we're doing it better than any other county in the state. And that's no joke. When we got finished, we got emails back from I don't know how many counties are going to come down and spend days with us. There are CCMEP programs in rural counties that don't realize how easy it is. And that's not to be offensive. You got to get to where they are. We have a mobile resource room. We have virtual reality. We invest in the right things, not the wrong things. So basically, it went really well up there, and I was very proud to represent Warren County at the state level. And I think we did a pretty good job. So it's been a great year, and at the very end of here, I'd throw the ROI there just because I can't help it. That's Area 12, so that's Butler, Warren, and Claremont. So that's not all just us. My big project this year is to dig deeper and to get that data for Warren County specific, so we can find out what impact we're making right here. And that's all I have.
All right, anybody else have any questions?
I just have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
So the NACO annual conference was over the weekend, and there is a new caucus that's been formed for mid-sized counties. And I was sitting in the new caucus that had like 280 commissioners from around the country in the caucus, and your project that you worked on with the Career Center and Sinclair and Children's Services around TANF-eligible youth and getting them work experiences was mentioned and really praised. And so I suspect that you might be getting some calls from people in other parts of the country. So congratulations on that work. I think what's really important for my colleagues to know is that, Warren County is different, not just in the ways we know about, but also different in terms of how these federal dollars come down and our ability to use these funding streams. And so we do need more flexibility to do things more innovatively because, the needs of our county are different. And I think, Josh, you did such a great job leading that project, and it was nice to sit there and hear our colleagues from around the country talk about how interesting this project is and how they've wanted to learn. So kudos to you and the entire work group on that.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Take care. Okay, next we have a work session with Human Services.
Morning.
Morning, how are you?
I'm not gonna be as enthusiastic as Josh, so bear with me.
It's hard to be as enthusiastic as Josh.
It is. I'm Arlene with Human Services,
And I'm James Ryan, I'm the Deputy Director with Human
and
Services.
amazing. So I kind of wanted to give you an overview of what our programs are, and we provide SNAP, Medicaid, childcare, adult protective services. We also have a fraud unit that we have ramped up some with that. And then,
Do you do unemployment also?
no. That's at the state level. One of the things I wanted to kind of recognize for us is that we have a low number of pending applications. The state requires you to keep your pending applications under a certain amount, and ours is currently at 6%. The max is 25%, so I wanted to highlight that. And then with that, we have, I think we hired a trainer and a QC person. So I think that had a lot to do with that, helping us with those. And then with Medicaid, we had a 15% decrease over the last few years. And then with SNAP, we had a kind of about a 7% decrease, trying to go down through here. And then we also have, 0.7, sorry.
I was like, whoa, what are you all doing?
0.7,
That's,
yeah.
But going down, I mean, your point is in all of the public assistance programs, you're seeing
A
them
decrease.
go down.
Yes, yeah. And, you know, and trying to run the agency and keep things going, you know, with all the increases and all the things that come about, you know, it's kind of tough and it's hard to maintain that, but I think we're doing a really good job at that. And, you know, with the Ohio, in our region, we have one of the lowest unemployment rates, which is 4%. So, and then our supportive senior programs, we have the SNAP. We have about 1,000 seniors on SNAP, and then we have about 3,600 on the Medicaid program.
Seniors.
Yes, yeah, the seniors. And then with our fraud overpayments, we made some changes this past year, and we met with the prosecutors. We had some outstanding fraud that hadn't been paying. So we met with the prosecutors, and we were able to ramp that up and collect more money with that program. So those are some of the highlights that I wanted to talk about. And I think that's
Well, I really appreciate your kind of thinking about the programs that you administer as a bridge to help people
Yes.
into work. We obviously value work in this community, and I think that that's really important. And we know that there are some people who either age, blind, disabled, or unable to work for a variety of reasons, and those programs are in place to support that. But I have two questions for you. The first is, how many able-bodied adults do we have on public assistance, active cases?
it's about 6,000.
Yeah, 6,000.
You have able-bodied cash assistance, 6,000.
Okay.
Cash assistance, sorry, I thought you.
No,
Yeah.
we have one? I
One,
think it's
yes.
one.
We
So
just
you
have
have one
for-
able-bodied cash
Yeah.
assistance
Cash
case.
assistance, yes.
And then, I'm curious about the error rate, that with the changes happening at the federal level with respect to the administrative costs, because as I understand the big beautiful bill, the changes that have been made to SNAP and the reductions in funding to SNAP have fallen solely on the administrative costs. They've not changed the eligibilities or the benefit levels, at least at this point in time. But the significant cuts to SNAP come straight from cost share and administrative costs. And so, obviously, I'm pretty concerned about, since Ohio is one of 10 states that locally administers our SNAP program, what that's gonna mean to our budget. And so I'm wondering, I know that the bill has just been signed and the rules making is gonna get underway, but I'm wondering if you're hearing anything from the state with respect to the cost share and how they're thinking about that increased level of cost share that's going to the states and then ultimately to the federal government, and then how, or ultimately to the local governments, and then how does the error rate, because I think it's at 9% in Ohio now, how that is going to, because I know that the administrative cost is gonna be directly related to our error rate, and how you're seeing our error rate contributing to the overall state's error rate, that then eventually those dollars, you know, what we're gonna have to pay for it, is gonna be impacted by that.
We are gonna meet with the Directors Association on Thursday to talk more about that. And actually, we just got a thing last night, but we haven't received any other information from them. But we are gonna meet with them on Thursday.
So,
I'd really love to have a conversation once you all start
Yes.
to get like into the nitty gritty around this, because, you know, we have a trend, that has been over the decades, moving more and more responsibilities to the locals, from the state. So we're paying more for state responsibilities without the resources to administer it. And now the feds are pushing that down on the states, and being one of only 10 states in the country that runs its operations this way, I'm super concerned about what this could mean to our budget. And so maybe once you guys get a better, I'm sure you share that.
Yes, we do.
think there's
But
something
once you start to get some direction from the state and inclination around that, I'd love to sit down and doesn't have to be in a public session unless the other commissioners have an interest, but I'd like to really understand what this budget impact could be, because, you know, what I think the public needs to really understand, at least at this juncture, there has not been a reduction in benefits at all in SNAP. I think people believe that there's been a reduction in SNAP benefits. I also think they think there's been a reduction in change in who's eligible for SNAP, and there's not. It's just been a massive reduction in the amount of money that the feds will be giving to states to administer the program. And since in this state, we're required to administer the program at the local level, I suspect that we're gonna see a lot of pressures there, so, big issue. This is a really big
It is.
issue, for us and for really every county in the state, and, at least those the other 9 states that administer their, SNAP benefits locally.
I would just say is when you get that
Very concerning.
information, just work with Susan and I will coordinate whether it's in the public and work session or just a private meeting, but yeah, just let us know when that's in hand.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Care.
All right, finally, Trevor, we've got a discussion of facilities management this morning. To discuss the facilities master plan.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'll make this quick.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to come in today and give you an update on the master plan and where we're at and what our next steps are. The first phase we did is kind of in the home stretch right now. The first phase was demolishing the old jail, sheriff's office, SWAT garage. We built the new county court building. They moved into it about a month ago, and we're preparing to demolish the old county court building now. Site work's well underway on the criminal suppression headquarters too. So those projects, that wraps up phase 1. So I want to talk to you about preparing for phase 2 of this. There's 2 big projects in phase 2. It would involve building a new facilities management building, and that would clear space so that we could build a new health and human services building. You can see here on the graphic, and I can point to it for you here.
Number 2?
Yeah, facilities is where number 2 is now. We'd want to move them back into this field, which is where the old jail used to be. And the reason we want to get rid of that's the best building spot we've identified for a new health and human services building, because it has access to this huge parking area here with like 700 parking spots. So if we get my building out of the way, then we could build a new HHS building in its place. My building, from an asset standpoint, I mean, it's a pole barn that was built decades ago. It's not going to be a difficult building to replace. The Health and Human Services building is the big project in that. Now, as you know, Ohio Revised Code mandates that we hire a criteria architect if we do any design build projects. So that's what I came here today to ask you for, was permission to advertise for a criteria architect. Now, what they will do is they will identify the scope of work in these projects. They'll put together a budget for you guys, show you the best locations for all this. They could bring that in and we would present it to you, and ultimately you would decide if you wanna move forward or not with these projects. It's not a commitment to build what we're doing now, we're just kinda exploring the project.
So do we have the budget, Martin, for the criteria architect?
We actually, when Trevor and all of us were talking about budget, we went ahead and put it into his budget for this year, just on the case that you would allow that to occur. So it's already been anticipated for this year.
So do we have to approve the hiring or the searching for this?
We actually have a resolution,
The
if you went
posting
down.
to advertise for it.
We have to advertise for it, and do we need to do that today?
We actually have a resolution that is prepared if you are interested in doing it today.
Read the resolution, let's get it done.
So I have a resolution advertising for requests for qualifications for criteria architect services for the Warren County Master Plan Phase 2 projects.
So moved?
And yes, we'll call a roll on this.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes?
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Okay.
Trevor, just really quick, I won't belabor the point, Tom, but I've asked this before of administration, and I'd like to know, are we maximizing the space in this existing building that we're in now?
No, there is vacant space in this.
So, like, it feels that way when I walk around this building, and so what I would ask is that in this next phase, especially when we're talking about human services, I mean, it's, you know, I'd like for that to be understanding our capacity here and how that fits into this, larger piece.
Okay, absolutely.
All right, good. Any other things?
Oh, good.
Thank you, Trevor.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
both.
Appreciate it.
Good.
I just have one small question to ask real quick, is Candace Miller from the Department of Development asked me to ask you a question relative to CDBG. When you put the list together of the ones that you wanted to push forward, she found out that I think it was Franklin Township, not knowing what the federal government was going to do, went ahead and moved some money in their own accounts and actually did one of the projects. She's working with HUD right now to determine if that can be reimbursed to Franklin Township. If it cannot, she wanted me to know if it was okay for her to put some of those proceeds to the last project, which was the Harlan Township Historical Building, which you are giving some to, but we're not giving the full amount. So she was okay if that would be something that she could basically take those leftover dollars and push them back to the project at the bottom that wasn't fully funded. That make,
Well, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. However, what I want some clarity on, and we asked this the last time, and it's still not clear to me, is do we have access for certain for these resources? Because, I mean, Congress is right now debating eliminating this program altogether. And so what I don't want to do is, even though it's not, we're not committing our resources to it, I don't want communities to start investing their dollars in it in preparation
Right.
if the money's not going to come.
we will verify, but my understanding is that this round is fully funded. It is.
Well,
We'll verify that.
I
Okay, well, I guess the question is, assuming that is verified and I'm speaking the truth, are you okay if it slides down to the one that was still funded but not to its fullest level because there wasn't as much residual?
Yeah, I personally think to the extent that we get these dollars from the federal government to invest in low-income communities and projects that the communities put forward, that we should utilize those resources. And if there's somebody next on the list that's eligible, I personally think we should do
I'm
it.
okay, although I don't remember what other possibilities there are right now.
Well, it was actually the only one that was left that wasn't fully funded. The other ones below that, we determined were not eligible.
All
So
right,
she's-
then that's
Yeah,
fine.
But we will verify that question first. I believe that my answer is correct, but I want to make sure that
All right.
it's true.
That's all right then. Do we need to take any formal voting on that?
we'll use
Alright.
this and we'll come back.
Good. Is there anything else, anybody else in the audience wanna say anything to us? Seeing none, is there any other comments from the commission? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
I say yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle, Trevor.